Hi guys, it's MyIntent Maker Tammy Nelson, and today I'm going to show you another technique for creating the slip knot that you see on MyIntent bracelets that allows you to adjust the size of the bracelet. Now I have another video that shows one way to make this slip knot, but today I'm going to show you another method. Okay, so here I have a bracelet that is all ready to go. Everything's ready except it needs the slip knot. So I'm going to cross over the two ends like this, almost as if it's folding its arms. And then I'm going to take an 8-inch piece of cord. I use 8 inches when I use this method. The other method I use to make a slip knot, I only use 7, but I like to use 8. And I'm going to set that aside for a second, and then I'm going to share with you the other thing you'll need. And this is a tip from MyIntent Maker Katie Wickham. She utilizes these floss threaders, which you can either purchase at a craft store in the notions section, or you can purchase them at a place like Walgreens. You see here's a package of them, and they come as a loop on one side and a long tail on the other side. And so that is something we're going to use in a second. Okay, so going back to the 8-inch piece of cord, we're going to take that and make a loop on one end, and then we're going to leave a long tail on the other end. And then we're going to lay that loop on top of the folded ends of the bracelet. Then we're going to take the floss threader and turn it to be opposite the other loop. And we're going to lay that also right on top. So now you can see what we have here. We've got the loop from the piece of cord, and opposite that we have the loop from the floss threader. And then of course we have this long tail that we're going to use to create the slip knot. So you're going to pick up that whole bunch and hold it in one hand. And then you're going to start using that long piece to wrap around all of these things at once. And I like to wrap it around 3 or 4 times. All right, and once I've wrapped it around a number of times, now we're going to use this floss threader to get this end of string that we just wrapped around back through this coil that we just created by wrapping the cord around. So that's where the flosser comes in real handy, because otherwise you would be taking this end and trying to poke it back through all of these loops, and that's pretty tricky. So instead we're going to use this floss threader to pull it through. So I like to actually switch hands and hold the coil so that I can actually tighten up this floss threader a little bit. So I start pulling the floss threader through, and then I'll switch hands again. The reason being, this end needs to fit through the loop, and I need it to stay in the loop and not fall back out. So that's why I make the loop a little bit smaller before I pull it through. So now that I have it through the floss threader, I'm going to switch hands, and I'm going to kind of loosen my grip, because if I'm holding on to this coil really hard, obviously I'm not going to be able to pull this through. So I'm kind of loosening up my grip, and then I'm pulling on the floss threader, and you can see it's pulling that end right through the coil, and it's going to come out on the other side. See it coming out? It's right here. So now I have the end that wrapped all around, and then it went back through the coil. That's this end right here. And then I still have the other end of my original 8-inch piece. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the end that I just pulled through the coil, and I'm going to put it through the loop that's down here. And then I'm simply going to pull on both ends until I have a nice slip knot. And I like to pull it really tight. A lot of people worry that the bracelet won't be adjustable and it'll be too tight, but I have never found it to be too tight. So I like to pull on these ends really well. And then we're simply going to get everything else out of the way so that all we have are the ends of that 8-inch piece. And we're going to get everything else out of the way, and we're going to trim it really close on both sides. And then I just use a lighter to singe off the edges. This is the polyester cord, so I find that that works really well. And there you have it. A nice, clean slip knot. And it'll allow you to adjust the bracelet. And it looks really clean. So thanks again to MyIntent Maker Katie Wickham for this awesome idea for the floss threaders. It really helps pull that string that wraps around, pull it back through the coil to make a nice, clean, tight slip knot.